What is up, everybody? It has been not too long, right, Kat? Just a little bit of time since we did this.
Long enough that I missed that intro.
I know it's a banger,
Yeah.
but we are back. We're missing AD, but
It's all
the
right.
show must go on. It's the Cat and Zach show, episode 2.
Yeah, it happens every once in a while.
Yeah.
We hold down the fort.
So let's see who we've got here. We got Alice,
And
Charlie, Stanley's, Sean Bearwalker. What's up,
let's
guys?
go. Also, congrats, Zach. We saw that you broke 10K recently.
Yeah, it's been a wild last few months. It's just popping off. So
Yeah, well, we were looking at all your shorts, and we saw that the handsome Squidward one had over a
I
million
know.
views. We were like,
It's,
oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Of all the videos I've ever made, right?
It's so funny. We watched that one after we saw the views. We were like, let's just rewatch this, and it's just so crazy how what pops off in the algorithm.
I know. I remember when it started popping off, I was like, really? I have so many better videos, but Alex was just like, yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, it's like, don't question it. Let it happen.
But yeah, I haven't gotten to thank all of you guys, live at least. Without you guys, would not be here. I know it's a really generic thing to say, but it's true. And thank you as well, Kat. I know a lot of my subscribers come from you too. And thanks for coming on most weeks except for the last 5.
Oh. Yeah, this whole last month. Oh my gosh, no, I'm glad because we know that now all of our subscribers, it's a great corner of the Star Wars fandom over here. So
we've got what is it, 200,000 with a million more well on the way.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's get into some of the topics. This is kind of based off of the video I just made, but since Kenobi is joined the ranks of Star Wars shows, we'll just go live action here. But where would you put it with the 3 that are out so far?
I'm surprised I haven't even thought of this yet. Now I'm scared. Oh, this is tough.
It is.
I almost because
there's different ways to look at it.
Yeah, it's so hard to compare. Shiz. Okay. All right. It's tough because I'm trying to not be a biased prequel fan, and I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of an actual judging the shows all around. Because if you just there are snippets of Kenobi that are some of the greatest things ever that I don't need another Star Wars show for the rest of my life. Like the ending of episode 2 when Vader opens his eyes. Obviously, the entirety of the finale and just seeing unmasked Hayden Christensen, those highlight moments alone are priceless. And obviously way more hype than some of the stuff in Mando or Book of Boba Fett, speaking as a prequel fan. So that's what's tough because I'm trying to not ride out my whole judgment though solely on those moments. But I'm scared that people might hate me for what I have to say. I think overall Mandalorian is still in the lead, and I think based on the little leaked trailer. Well, you maybe got to actually see it.
I didn't. I had to watch the leak too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, Tom got to see it. He didn't leak it for me. There's just videos all over YouTube at this point, but the trailer for the 3rd season it's insane.
Yeah.
It looks incredible. I think the show is just going in a phenomenal direction. So I think overall, I think Mandalorian is still in the lead. Kenobi close 2nd, and then Book of Boba close 3rd. They're all they blur together now in my head. It's hard to pit them against each other. I don't know.
Yeah, the Book of Boba is it's such a weird show. Because half of it is the Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah, so, exactly.
Yeah, I would, like I said, there's different ways to look at it. So emotionally and spiritually, I would look at it as Kenobi is my favorite because, I mean, like you said, we're prequel kids. That stuff was special. And it wouldn't be fair to compare Mandalorian to it in that regard, because it just,
Yeah.
what's Mandalorian gonna do? Like it can't compete with that. It literally can't. But in terms of quality, I just have so many gripes with what Kenobi put on screen in terms of like set design, editing, directing, music, all across the board. And then you look at Mandalorian, and it looks like a damn movie. Like, I know this was in Book of Boba Fett, but the Mandalorian episode in Book of Boba Fett that
Yeah.
Bryce Dallas Howard, what,
Dallas Bryce.
Dice Dallas Howard.
We're gonna just refer to every other computation of her name from now on.
Howard Dallas Bryce directed it. It looked so good. It's amazing that Star Wars can look that good on television and not on the big screen, but it looked amazing. And Kenobi never came anywhere close to that. Even the last battle against Vader, I rewatched it and I'm like, man, I really wish like I think we used to say like it wasn't shot on like a Warner Brothers dirt lot or something. Like it just looked, it doesn't look as epic as it should. It looked like they cut corners even on that, which is disappointing.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to be objective and look at the overall production, but I'm like, it's also not the fault of the showrunners when you're dealt a certain budget. And when I just was so alarmed when I learned the budget comparisons between Mandalorian and Kenobi. Like, that's not the fault of anyone involved. I don't know whose fault that is, but you have to work with what you have. But at the same time, Kenobi almost made me. I love the round, like, or the volume. I always want to call it the round. The volume, like, I think that has been revolutionary, and the way they utilize it in Mandalorian is freaking astounding, and you would never know that they're in the volume. Kenobi made me want them to break free of the volume, because you could tell they were just in this. It wasn't real. Like, I don't know. There was something about it that you could just tell they were working with the constraints that they had. Mandalorian makes it feel like these locations are real, and I never feel like they are the location is compromised in any way. And I freaking love Kenobi, which is why it's hard. It hurts for me to say these things, but it's just the one thing that I can't get over, because it's truly like every episode almost I have some sort of. I'd say the exception is Dayu. I think that was the best location in the show, probably.
That's where all the budget went. Dayu, and I don't know what else. I mean, I really am bummed out about the music, and it came out that it was Deborah Chow's directive to not go with the sweeping prequel music. She thought that it would be better to go with more modern, low-key music. So don't blame the composer, everybody. It was Deborah Chow making that decision, which I disagree with. I've seen edits of Vader versus Kenobi where they use like Duel of the Fates and Battle of the Heroes, and it's so much better.
Yeah. Now I'm curious why. I'm curious what the goal is with not using. There's got to be a reason. There obviously has to be a creative reason. So I'm maybe just because it's a different time. Like I don't know. I mean, I have to respect her decision. She still gave us a great show. Like I hope this doesn't sound like I'm just complaining about the show now, but this is the sole reason. I don't want to just objective. Like I don't want the highlights of the show of Kenobi to trump the fact that like Mandalorian has been a consecutively amazing show, regardless of it has like incredible cameos and highlight moments, but those don't carry the show. I look back on the whole series and both 2 seasons as one like amazing thing, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like also Mandalorian in a way saved Star Wars. I mean, we were at a low point there for a while. And I wouldn't say we're at a high point still, but like it's better than it was. And like you said, that season 3 trailer, it just looks bigger and it looks better, and it looks like a movie. Like the whole thing looks like a movie.
It looks like even the music in that trailer, I was like, is this even the same show? Like, just to think about where the show started and where it is heading, I'm like, I would not have anticipated this when it first debuted, but I'm not complaining. Like, I think this show is going to take us places, and it looked amazing visually. I think the character development has been amazing in Mandalorian, so I'm like incredibly stoked for the third season. Like, I can't wait. But
Yeah, that and Andor, they both look like really high quality.
It just hurts. It hurts. I almost just can't even think about it because it's like now it's making me angry. Like, Andor's probably going to be amazing, but I'm angry that it like has a bigger budget than Kenobi. When it's like I should be angry, I should be happy that these Star Wars shows are getting huge budgets just for some reason.
Not
my favorite
Kenobi.
one. Yeah. I don't know.
One of the 5 most important characters in the series. We don't need to give him more than Cassian Andor.
Yeah. Do you think you made a good point? You said we're not at a high point necessarily right now. And I made me wonder, like, do you think we're ever going to be at a high point as a fandom ever again? Because I feel like
I think it's been a steady decline with a few exceptions since like the end of the original trilogy, honestly. Like, I mean, because you remember like I don't really remember, but like history has shown that everybody hated the prequels back in the day, so that was like a big tumultuous time in Star Wars. And then nobody really cared about it outside of us fans while the Clone Wars was on, and then there was like a lot of excitement for it when the Force Awakens was released, and then since then it's gone back down, and it's just like progressively getting lower and lower. And then the Mandalorian kind of spiked it, and then it kind of goes back down every time there's a new thing released, because both sides, there's 2 sides of the fandom that just diametrically disagree with each other, and I find myself somewhere in the middle usually. But what am I, the Bendu from Rebels? But yeah, it's I don't know, Kat. I think it's always just gonna be this way. It's no one hates Star Wars like Star Wars fans, is what they say.
Do you think there is a project that could salvage the fandom?
No, I don't. I feel like they're gonna be able to poke holes in whatever it is. Like, you know who I'm talking about. Like,
yeah, we all know.
They're gonna be loud and they're gonna poke holes into anything. And like, sure, some of their points may be valid, but others aren't and never will be. But I just think it's always gonna be this way. It's never gonna be like a.
Yeah, I think that's what I learned from Kenobi, because I truly thought, because like exactly as you and I were saying, it's like we have gripes about the show perhaps, but at the end of the day, the best, like, we love those characters, and like that is the most important thing to us, and we can put our gripes behind us to appreciate some of those epic moments, like those irreplaceable moments that are now in the canon. Whereas there are people, as long as there are people in the fandom who just can't get over those gripes and fixate on them, which is what Kenobi taught me. It was like, no matter what, like, people are going to cling to the stuff that they hate. There's just an entire corner of the fandom that cannot praise a single thing that Disney does. And as long as they're making content, we're never going to it's never going to be better.
It's like a self-perpetuating cycle that is never going to end. This is an interesting point. Like, I don't know I don't know if I agree with Disney's stance on like movies anymore. Like, they've kind of done away with trilogies, and I think they blame the sequels for it, or I don't remember what they blame trilogies for, but they don't want to do trilogies anymore. I think that's not a bad thing. Like, trilogies aren't bad. You just have to plan them out a little more than they did with the sequels. And I hope that they do that eventually, because there's nothing like a good trilogy. Like, it's good for the wallet for Disney. Like, if they have a successful trilogy, they'll make a lot of money. It generates a ton of excitement. So I would like them to do trilogies again at some point. I understand taking a break from it, but I also want to talk about I don't know if you saw it. I haven't watched it, but this guy made a cut of the Obi-Wan series where he streamlined it into a movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen it or like read about it?
I did not see it, and to my knowledge, it's been taken down, right?
Probably,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think I saw the creator on Twitter mentioning that he knew it was going to happen. He was like, it was only a matter of time, so I did not check it out, but I heard nothing but everyone was speaking very highly about it, it was a really well done.
Yeah.
Like, it thinned out some of the filler. Y'all know I don't like that word, but it kind of made it more of a central through line that was heavily more focused on like actually Obi-Wan Kenobi and
Leia
yeah.
chase scene. Mm.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
I I think I know. I didn't watch his cut, but I think I know what he did with that. It's when I think he cut right when Leia's like, "Who are you waiting for?" And he's like, "You." And, like, all you need to do is cut there. You don't need to show Leia running away from these thugs in the forest. Like, it
Honing
shaves.
these grown adults.
Yeah, that was so bad.
I definitely had to suspend my suspension of disbelief. I had to extra suspend my disbelief on that one. I don't even know what I'm saying. I had to really like stretch my mind to be like, all right, I can accept that these 3 30-year-old bounty hunters can't catch a 10-year-old, but yeah.
She's elusive. She has a future in the NFL for sure. She's gonna be the running back, greatest running back of all time.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm curious if he was able to get it back up. I heard him saying that he was trying to communicate with YouTube to get the video back, but
I don't know, like, what the legalities of that would be, because obviously he couldn't profit off of it, but is it? I don't think it would be legal still, because you can't have like concurrent footage longer than like 5 seconds. So I don't know.
yeah, it's a very I don't honestly even know how he was able to get it up in the first place.
Yeah,
Because anytime I went to upload a reaction video, or like I tried to manipulate the footage as much as I could. I flipped it. I made it black and white. Like I was like trying to make it so not the original thing. And even if I had a cut that was slightly too long, it would get clocked and like slapped.
yeah.
So I'm amazed that he was able to work around that and that it even made it onto the tube in the first place. But
Yeah, like, I didn't know he put it on YouTube, because I remember seeing a short video, I think a short about it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I wonder where he's gonna post it. I didn't know he put it on YouTube. It's pretty ballsy.
yeah, right. It's kind of brave. At least I think because his Twitter discussion was about that it had gone. YouTube took it down. I don't know, but
Yeah.
anyone in the chat, if you saw that, because it was alive and well for like a solid week, I think.
Yeah, I wish I watched it. Alex is, he is currently, his setup isn't ready. We had to move out of our old place, so Alex and I no longer live together. But
you make it sound like a breakup.
we got divorced, guys. We got divorced, and he took the kids. No, his setup's not ready, so he wasn't able to join us today. But I think he'll be back next week. I don't see any reason for that, why he shouldn't be. But let's move on to this question, which has been batted around ever since the show ended. Would you want another season of Kenobi?
Frankly, at the time, fresh after the finale, if you had asked me, I think I would have said yes. And I don't know. I would have said yes, or I can't. I would say yes, and then 1 minute I'd be like, wait, no, change my mind. No. Now I honestly thought that the window in which they would have announced a second season, because I really thought they were gonna grab it and like see, fan reception, and that they were gonna capitalize on that hot period of like the honeymoon phase we all were in after the finale. Yeah. I thought that was the window in which they were gonna. I honestly thought I was gonna like log on to Twitter the next day and see the announcement drop that there was gonna be a season 2. And now that it's been almost a solid like month, I don't know. I think the chances are dwindling the longer it goes between now and the finale. So at this point, I might not even want one, especially if it's not a fully realized story that they didn't have from the beginning. If someone came out and said, we saw the fan love and we wanted to write another story for you all, like, no, please no.
Like, Leia's getting kidnapped again.
Exactly. I don't even know what it would be about.
Yeah.
That could be as gripping as what this was their storyline that they had going into it with the intention of one season. So at this point, I think I'm going to say no. I don't think I would want a second one.
My heart I want to see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan again. I want to see Hayden Christensen as Anakin / Darth Vader again. Like, I want that. I want as much as them as I can get. But, like, when you look at the story, like you said, what could they possibly do? Like, you can't have Vader chasing Obi-Wan around the galaxy anymore. It would feel weird. I think they left their relationship and their story in a perfect place until A New Hope resolves it. So I don't know what they would do. I mean, nobody wants to see Tatooine for another 6 episodes, like, because that's what it would be. I think Obi-Wan would be sitting on Tatooine, learning from Qui-Gon, and like, as much as I'd like that, Tatooine, like, I don't want to see Tatooine again. It's ridiculous. Like, every single show, like The Mandalorian has gone back to it a few times. It was in 5 out of the original 6 movies. Hell, it was even in Rise of Skywalker. Like, we don't, and then Jakku is basically Tatooine. So
yeah,
we just
2.0.
no more sand planets. I mean, I don't care what they do, just please not Tatooine. Please God, no more Tatooine.
No, literally the second. Well, also, speaking of, did you hear the rumors that there's going to be a Book of Boba Fett season 2? It got, I don't know. There was like leaks. I don't exactly even know what the leak was from. I know I can't trust anything on Twitter anymore, but I saw it was trending for a little bit that there was an accidental reveal of a second season, and I'm just like, I cannot, like, if he steps a freaking toe on Tatooine in Mandalorian season 3, I will clog out mentally. I'm with you. Please, I need something else. Like, I can't. Like,
yeah, even that show didn't have to be all on Tatooine. Like, he could. I just wanted it to be about him, like, gallivanting across the galaxy with his ship and Fennec, and like getting up to all kinds of like bounty hunter stuff. But no, he wanted to rule Mos Espa. It's like, it's like they're like, okay, it's cheap if we do Tatooine. Like, the sets are very simple. It's just a sand dune. Like, we don't have to do a lot of like location scouting and set building, and we have the assets already. So we'll just do as much as we can on Tatooine and save money. I don't know if that's it, or if it's just like, for some reason, they think we love Tatooine because it's the first planet that we go to. But please God, no more. Go to Bespin again. Go to Coruscant. Like, I really want to spend more time on Coruscant. I know that it looks like we're doing it in Andor, but like, Coruscant is so cool. And it's like, you've got the surface, you've got the underground levels. It's so cool. Go back to Coruscant. No more Tatooine.
Yeah. You hear that? Go back to Coruscant, Disney.
Are you listening to me, Kathleen Kennedy?
They were like, the Cat and Zach show is happening today. We have to go. Yeah. They're here. They're lurking. No, I'm in total agreement. Like, or even just make up new planets. Like, even just like in Book of Boba Fett, one of my favorite things was Mandalorian episode, of course. That space ring that he was on, that was freaking cool. The club, the nightlife, the fact that it was somehow defying gravity. I was like, do a show on that planet. Like, I want to see some more like nightlife, like seedy underbelly, like stuff like that in Star Wars in general. So
and then he went to Tatooine. He left that place and went to Tatooine.
He had like a quick elevator ride, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
Well, no, he went to the undersides for a second.
He got in trouble with his principal, and then he went to Tatooine. But would you want a season 2 of Boba Fett? That's another question. If the rumors are true, would you want another season?
That one, sure. I would totally, because there's room for it. That show was definitely not that it was designed, but it's more flexible. That there's
Yeah.
a lot to work with. But they'd have to have a really like good, believable conflict. But in that world, in the crime world, there's like plenty. I feel like that they could actually like tap into Crimson Dawn, which is what we all were anticipating in the first season. So there's room, and there's still plenty of stuff and like formidable enemies that could create a really great high stakes season 2. So
Yeah, I feel similar to Alice. Like, I think they've done irreparable damage to Boba Fett as a character. Because, like, if we were to get another season of him, I would instinctually want him to be kind of like an anti-hero again, or he's killing people, he's doing some bad things. But the way that they left him after season 1, he's like this completely benevolent, like mayor kind of guy. And I don't want another season of Boba Fett being like a good dude. Like that's not Boba Fett to me and to a lot of people. I think I would prefer him to just show up here and there in the other shows, like he pops up in Mandalorian, then maybe he can pop up. I don't know. He probably won't, but in Ahsoka or anything else they do post Return of the Jedi, use him for that. But I don't need to see a season 2 because season 1 didn't inspire hope for me.
Interesting. See, I feel like they were just almost scratching the surface a little bit with his character after he slayed Cad Bane. I was like, this is a big character moment that I felt like they could have tapped into even more.
Yeah.
But I was like, the fact that we're ending with this is a lot for him to come to terms with. Because the whole season he's been fighting against his nature and his bounty hunter, history. And in the moment that Cad Bane calls him out for it and is like, this is in your blood and you're never going to be able to escape it, Boba proves him right and stabs him right through the belly. And he proves Bane's point. And I felt like I wanted to see even more of that moment of internal conflict within Boba, and they kind of glossed over it, but I feel like a second season could maybe, I don't know, not that it would be solely, season 2 is entirely about Boba facing his demons of killing Cad Bane, but I don't know, especially now there's also those rumors that he wasn't actually dead and stuff like that. Like
the light was blinking on his on his chest or whatever.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but I think I would agree with you even more if that had been like a struggle for Boba Fett over the course of the season where he's like trying to distance himself from his past, but it wasn't. He had like, we never saw any indication of that until Cad Bane threw that line out there. It kind of just felt like they got to the end of the show and they're like, wait, he hasn't really had an internal struggle this entire time. Let's quickly write a line about how he can't escape being a killer. And it's like, it just comes out of nowhere. It's like, I had no idea he was struggling with that. And so I guess they could use that as a direction for season 2, but it would have been a lot better if he had been wrestling with that over the course of season 1.
That's a good point. Yeah, it was shocking because the second episode, I still think about it. The tree, his flashbacks, I was like, this is freaking amazing stuff, and I want more of this content in Star Wars. And then that's kind of where it maxed out with his past and everything that he was dealing with. Like, so you're right. I am just a gullible fan who so they were like, this one line will work on some people, and it got me.
You will. Like, this line will work for you.
Yeah.
No, it won't.
OMG, he's back. Oh wait, yeah, we never even talked about how there was no Watto or no Dex.
God.
In Kenobi.
Just a double gut punch. Like, neither of them. I would have accepted one of them at the very least, but we got neither of them. So sad. I don't think we're ever seeing Watto again, if I have to be completely honest with you, because he's kind of a stereotype that might offend some people. I think he's like the Jewish, like typical Jewish, like obsessed with money kind of guy. So if I have to be completely real for a moment, I don't think we're seeing Watto again on screen, which is sad.
Yeah, you're probably right. Oh, Alice, you're too kind.
Alice is putting in work in the comment section.
Not exactly amazing gameplay. Alice is hyping me up. No, I haven't
Bro,
gamed in forever.
neither have I. I played Mario Party on my own time, but that's about it. I don't think that's considered gaming. Watto did nothing wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. I mean, like, it's not his fault he had slaves. It's the institution's fault. I don't know.
It was society.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Watto's starring in Star Wars Vision Season 2. I need to watch Star Wars Vision Season 1.
Don't even get me started. You got to, now that they're having a season 2, don't you think it's a little bit?
I almost texted you because like a week ago I was like almost gonna watch it, and then I was like, and then I slipped my mind. But I have another thing that I need to come back around on. The last few Lord of the Rings trailers look good. I will say that they look like really good. So
Yes, literally, I was editing my reaction to the SDCC one before I hopped on here, and my biggest thing, I was like, this is the trailer we've been waiting for. Like, they should have come out of the bat with this almost, because come out of the gate. I can't. They should have walked up to the plate with that trailer first, because that is like the level that I have been anticipating this show. Like, gave us a little bit more about the plot, the conflict, the visuals, the scale of the budget. Like, I'm freaking stoked after that. They can end the trailers on that one, honestly, and I'll be fine until September.
yeah, like it just looks like Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, and they did an incredible job replicating the feel of it, and all of the generic fantasy CGI shots that I didn't like from that initial one have been nowhere to be found since then. So I'm cautiously optimistic now in terms of cautiously, as opposed to being cautiously pessimistic as I was before. But
That's
we'll
good.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
please give us a "We Live in the Society" as Watto. Okay, Fulcrum. I'll do this because I haven't done Watto very often for the last like 6 months.
Yeah, he's been gone.
Yeah, he's been on a vacation. He got sick of Tatooine too, so he went off planet. But we live in a society. There you go.
That was really good. That was a good one. I can never imagine Watto actually saying those words, but
he should get a cameo. The voice actor should get a cameo. That'd be so funny.
He should. Oh, he'd be getting those requests every day.
From our subscribers only, because nobody else knows that this is a thing.
Oh my goodness.
T-Money.
Long time no.
Toydarian Society. Yeah, the best kind of society. Watto needs to read the script for the Batman movie. Oh god, my voice would be shot, Alice. I wouldn't be able to speak for like a week. That's part of the reason I don't do Watto that often. It ruins my voice. Like it already is kind of dry.
No, it's hard for me to even fully laugh at it and enjoy it because I know the self-induced pain you're enduring as it happens.
Terrible pains. Young Skywalkers in terrible pain.
Oh my god.
Taika Waititi's Star Wars film. So this is another film that we won't be seeing Watto in because he came out and said that we won't be seeing any characters that we know in this movie. He also said, let me just share it real quick so you guys can see the article.
Oh.
He also said, I'm trying to write the Star Wars idea at the moment. I've got to see how that goes because once I submit it, that might determine when it gets made or if it gets made even. So he's just phrasing it like it's not a for sure thing. I don't know if he's being humble or what, but if it's not even a guaranteed thing, like I can't even imagine what happens if this movie gets canceled because they already canceled or postponed the Patty Jenkins one.
Yeah.
So like, what's going on? Like,
No, I feel like this one also when I saw this statement, I was like, I thought we were at least in the clear with this. Like, I thought
yeah,
this was a given. I've been hyping this up. Like, this has been in the works for a bit now, right? So,
yeah, we've known about this for at least I think 2 years. I want to say.
yeah. So, and it's Taika Waititi. I love his work. I've actually not seen Thor: Love and Thunder yet, but
It's
eh,
it's okay.
just okay. I mean,
Yeah,
at this point, somebody said it perfectly on Twitter. The Marvel movies at this point are the equivalent of when you've completed the full campaign of a video game and now you're just going to play the side missions. Like,
yeah,
that's how it kind of feels. But after everything that they announced at SDCC, I'm like, all right, like, never mind. Like, I don't know. Marvel's coming back. Not that it was ever gone, but like
yeah,
it seems like they're building up to another Infinity War esque Endgame esque scale, which is of
yeah.
course like I would take it, but yeah,
It's gonna be hard to top though.
yes, it's quite the feat to do that once is hard enough, but to get something on that scale twice is gonna be something.
Definitely. I uh I generally trust Waititi. Like he's made some phenomenal movies. I love what he did with Thor and Ragnarok. I thought that was a great movie. I thought it was the perfect amount of like tragedy and comedy, and then like he completely messed that up in this movie. It's too much comedy. But I
Um,
don't know what a Star Wars movie directed by him would look like tonally, because Star Wars is a very slippery slope with tone. Like I always go back to that classic. I don't know if you can say it's classic, but you go back to that opening banter between Poe and Hux of the Last Jedi, and like that felt really off to me. Like it didn't feel like Star Wars. It felt like they were trying to emulate Marvel. So I hope he doesn't take his experience with Marvel and translate that to Star Wars. That's
oh,
my only concern with Taika Waititi.
yeah, I see what you mean. I have faith only because I have like I his other works, like What We Do in the Shadows, that show, that film, like that whole series and franchise, I think is freaking phenomenal. And that's very like also niche but original type comedy. So I feel like he is adaptable. I hope. But I don't want a comedy based
Yeah.
Star Wars series. I don't know. Like you're right. There's very little places where comedy doesn't ruin the moment. In Star Wars, it's not the same as Marvel. Like, and you got to get it right. So, if I were to hear that it was a mainly comedy centric film, then I'm assuming that it's going to be like not a kids show, but I'm like, what's the stakes of this plot going to be? You know, like I'm
Yeah.
curious.
If the characters in the movie are not taking it seriously, how am I supposed to take it seriously? And without spoiling anything about the new Thor movie, that was my main gripe. It's like for the first 80% of the movie, the characters don't take anything seriously. And then suddenly in the last 20%, they flip a switch and the movie expects me to now take it seriously, even though everything that I've been shown up until this point is telling me that there's no stakes. The characters don't really care. They're not concerned about anything. And then all of a sudden that switch flips. And it's like, you can't ask that of your audience. And that would be
Mm.
especially bad, I think, in a Star Wars movie.
Yes, interesting. Stanley's, I second that. Jojo Rabbit is also
Yeah.
that's a good example though, because that film is very emotional.
Yeah.
It does have good like gut wrenching moments paired with I mean that's also the tone of the film. It's like satirical, you know, stuff like that. But there were great moments in that movie that were not ruined by comedy by any means. So that's a good point.
Yeah. But I mean, in general, I'm excited that we're gonna see new characters and hopefully it'll be in a new time period as well. Uh
Yes.
because I just kind of want to get out of the whole 20 years between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope time period, or like just around the whole Empire. I want to get out of that. Like we've it's great, I love it, but I want to see something new, like High Republic or Old Republic, or way after the movies. Like do something else. Like there's so much potential for it.
Yes, and I feel like I was just saying this in a stream recently, but it's less. There's more room for risk taking, but at the same time, it's less of a risk because you're not dealing with legacy characters and the canon that people hold so dearly, such as Kenobi and Anakin. I mean, there are people who are not pleased with what Kenobi did to some of the characters and the way it like painted Obi-Wan in certain lights and stuff like that. So when you're not dealing with the tether of the Skywalker storyline and all of the characters that are central to that, like when you branch off, I feel like there's way more wiggle room to do stuff that isn't going to maybe piss people off, like
Yeah, and you might not make as much money initially, but you're going to establish, if you do it right, you'll establish something that people will be excited for. And then whenever you get the hardcore fans excited, they kind of act as like your hype men for free. Like they'll hype up all the casuals and they'll go see your movie. And it's like, it's foolproof. Like so I'm glad that they're going to be doing that. I don't think it's in this article. I don't remember his direct quote. I just know that he said there won't be any characters. I don't know if he said that it'll be in a different time period, but I still, it would be okay if we didn't see anybody we knew, but it took place within the known time period, I guess. But I would really prefer to just whole new time period.
Yeah. I agree. I'm ready for just a blank slate of everything. That's partially why I am extremely excited for Andor. Obviously, it's in a familiar time period, but we're going to get so many new characters, new antagonists. Like, I'm really excited because this show has a lot of new introductions. And I feel like it's just going to be exciting in that regard, at least based on the trailer. It has a stacked cast and all new faces. So I think I'm excited. Like, that will be a good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Obviously, we know they can do it. Like Rogue One, entirely new faces, and that's one of the best movies from Star Wars in recent years. So
yeah, I mean, for me, Darth Vader always influences that movie. So if you removed him from it, I still think it's pretty solid.
Yeah.
I still think it's probably the best Disney Star Wars movie. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like they could definitely pull it off. I'd like to see something Clone Wars live action even. Like that'd be cool. It'd be expensive because, big ass war going on, but do it, Disney. Do it. Like the time is ripe to do Clone Wars stuff. Like all of us prequel kids are grown up and we're ready to give you our money.
Yeah.
just do that or do something completely new. Like nobody lives on Coruscant anymore.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one's lived on Coruscant for 1,000 years. I'm serious. I'm gonna steal that premise, Zach, and I'm gonna write a fan film. I'm serious.
Yeah. Or Disney steals it and then I'm like, those sons of bitches. Like they were listening.
Could you imagine we hear that exact line? I would cry.
They turn to the camera, wink. Then I'm like, no.
Oh my gosh. Got him.
All right. And that brings us to the last bit of news we have. Unfortunately, the Knights of the Old Republic remake has been delayed indefinitely, which is particularly painful because that means we have no idea when it's going to come out. I think some of the developers on the project said 2025 would be an accurate estimate. But yeah, here's the article. They delayed it indefinitely. It was supposed to come out, I think, later this year. So that's quite a blow.
No's in the chat.
Yeah. F's in the chat, everybody. F's in the chat. There's not a lot that we know other than they just announced that it got delayed. I think there's some some studio juggling that's happening with it. Some people got fired that were working on it, perhaps budget constraints, but deeply unfortunate. I think this was one of the greatest, not only Star Wars games of all time, but games of all time. Like just the amount of choices that you could make, the way you could take your character, all the other characters that had complex stories that you could form relationships with. It's just brilliant, and I was looking forward to this so much. Like, this, I'm so upset, Kat. Like this, this sucks.
Yeah. No, like I'll be completely honest. When it comes to Star Wars games, I take everything with the fattest grain of salt I can find because I just feel like it's so unstable in terms of the development and the timelines. I feel like timelines are always getting tweaked and pushed back when it comes to Star Wars game releases. Like Eclipse, for example, it's like
we're never getting that.
Yeah. I'm gonna be 80 years old when that game comes out. But so that's how I approach games. So I'm gonna be real. When they announced that KOTOR remake, I almost didn't even get that excited about it because I was like, okay, well, that's how I have to take it. I'm like, don't get excited because this game's not coming out till 2035. Like that at the rate that they're producing them. And I don't want to sound like a spoiled person who doesn't appreciate the amount of sheer work and blood, sweat, and tears that goes into video game production. I have nothing but utmost respect for those people, and they are like smarter than I will ever be. I don't know how any of that works. So I am not trying to shade them by any means, but I just know that especially with Star Wars games, it's just like you can never get your hopes up. So for me, delayed indefinitely, like Sal said, I feel like that's code for like it might not even be happening, which is upsetting.
But why? Like everybody was so excited for this game. Like everybody loves KOTOR. Like at least the people who played it. KOTOR is like the standard for RPGs, and I remember like basically since I played this game for the first time in high school because I missed the train when it came out in the early 2000s. I have been like constantly looking on the internet for a remake or a remastered or something. I have even got on April Fools a couple times.
No.
So it took like probably like 2014, 2015. I got, but then it finally got announced, and now this happens. So it's like we can never have anything good in this world.
I can't wait. This is why we can't have good things. Yeah, it's a shame though, because so many people shared your excitement, like the applause that was just happening on Twitter and within the fandom. Like it was a huge. I also feel like this, like Eclipse, this announcement like came out of nowhere. I don't know if this had been rumored or like in the works. I can't even keep track of all of like the Star Wars video games anymore, but I just remember everyone was like collectively, this was something people were collectively excited about, and now it's like,
they were like, you like that trailer from Eclipse? Well, you're gonna be in your 30s with kids by the time it comes out. So
you're gonna like it when you have children who are playing video games.
You're not gonna have any time to play this game. Yeah, like I'm 26. I'm 26 years old. I would be not surprised at all if Eclipse comes out when I'm like 32. Like I'm not expecting that anytime soon. Like
we're gonna be kicking our kids off the console.
Yeah,
it's my turn. I paid for this. I'm playing. Oh my god, it's making me grateful that I had parents. Wow, the thought of that, like, thank gosh neither of my parents like video games at all, and they were always like, get off these video games, because I can't imagine having parents who liked me if they're like, it's my turn. That's well, I would be hogging the console. I'm not even. It's literally not that I'm gonna have kids by the time I'm 30s. No thanks, but
same. I don't know why I said that. I don't want kids.
It's just for the weight of the time, that the passage of time between now and then.
I could have kids. I don't want them, but it would be a possibility.
Realistically, yeah.
And that's just disgusting. Like why would you even release the trailer if you're not gonna, like, oh my god, like, I was like, this is sick. Like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like, the drums, the music, the visuals. I was like, when is this coming out? And they're basically like, your guess is as good as mine, bro. We don't know.
This is disgusting. I know, right? Why? Like, I wouldn't even want. I understand wanting to generate hype, especially I don't know how long they've even been working on it or how far into the development process they were. So I can understand the gratification of putting out a little teaser and being like, just hang on, just wait, look at what we're making for you. Like that, I'm sure is satisfying to see the hype that was around it. But if I was the company, I would be like, all right, I want to get the instant satisfaction of then being able to put the game out in the next month. You know, like I don't want people to be toiling over this for the next 8 years until they all forget about it. You know, like that's how Tom always just rewatches the Visions teaser, and I'm like, effing stop! Like they need to just take this off of YouTube. I don't even want to look at this because it's not coming out any sooner. Like it's literally like I put it on the back burner in my head and hope that I forget about it, and then hope that I'm surprised again when the eventual launch date approaches in a decade from now. So
that's optimistic, Kat. It might be 2 decades from now. We might be retired by the time this comes out.
Oh gosh, I'll be in the elderly home streaming.
Yeah. Hey guys.
Oh my god.
It's like you get inheritance, but you can't claim it until you're like 35. So you have to live like your entire 20s knowing that like, okay, well, I'll be okay when I'm 35. But only this time, that 35 might be it might change to like when you're 38 or like when you're 40, like at a whim. Like,
yeah,
I
just slippery slope.
Yeah, and so like that's why when they did the KOTOR one, it was such a small teaser, but they made it feel like, oh, it's just around the corner. And they'd been working on it for 3 years. It was supposed to come out at the end of this year. And no,
you raise a good point. I'm like, what? Something I feel like catastrophic has to happen in order for a game that's already been in development for that long to be postponed like this, especially indefinitely. Like a delay with at least another anticipated release date is a lot less stressful than an indefinite delay. That to me is like, what happened? Like,
it's like, did you guys like spill water over all of the computers in your studio? Like what?
They lost their hard drive. Everything crashed.
they got locked out of their computers. Guess we gotta start from scratch.
Oh my gosh.
It's insane. Like, like you said earlier, why does, not just with the games, but like why does this always happen with Star Wars? I feel like if a movie gets announced, it's not a guarantee that it's gonna come out. Like,
yeah,
it's like Star Wars is like it's like they flip a coin after every time they announce it. They're like, we're gonna announce this.
All right.
So let's flip this coin, and if it's heads, it gets made. If it's tails, we delay it.
We're gonna shelf it. Yeah, I don't know. It just with the films, I feel like I'm honestly in a headspace where I'm like, we're not getting any Star Wars films till 2030. Like I don't even think about them because it is so streaming centric right now. I'm just like, this is the phase that Star Wars is in. We're in the era of streaming and just series now, and I'm not gonna see it on the big screen again for a while. Like it's just kind of what I've resolved myself to think, which is horrible. I've never actually like vocalized that, but that's honestly how I feel. I don't even think about the movies.
That's insane. I'll be 34 in 2030. That's all right. I think that's gonna do it for today. That's the end of our news cycle.
We're gonna go have an existential crisis.
Yeah. If I had Alex's like zoom in camera, I would just slowly zoom in on my face, but I don't. But thank you guys for joining us. I know it's been a while, so viewership was not as high because, I mean, I don't blame you. Like, we took 5 weeks off without
We deserve
without
it.
notice. Yeah, that's on us. Fair enough. But for those of you who did show up, thank you as always. Thanks for joining me, Kat, on the Cat and Zach show, episode 2.
It's always a blast. Always
It
a good
is.
time.
It's fun. And we will see you guys next time.
Yeah. Peace out, everybody.